Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the word shy coloring activity right here. So I went ahead and drew right here of a example right here. This would have been right here of me right here, sitting on say on a desk right here. And let's just say that it could be like what you call sitting on a desk. It's like a desk at school. It is, and like with anybody that may think that on there, if it's maybe the first day of school, I'm sure anybody remembers that on their first day of school or maybe their first day on their job, is it that they can remember about maybe about how shy that they were. Some people that may say that how nervous that they are about maybe on their first day of doing something. It is such as going to school, or if it's on a job or something like that, taking a test. I'm sure anybody that may say about taking the test, especially if whenever you show up and then next thing you know, I'm like anybody, is anybody that may think about that, really that not too many people that that may more likely that should be even shy if they had a date. I'm like if they had a date, blonde date or anything like that, if they were had a date with somebody that more likely that that no reason to be shy about that, of knowing about that talking about it's like so far the word shy it is with anybody that if anybody has noticed about that. I like to talk about say for the whole meaning about shy. What does it usually mean? It's like which I looked it up in a dictionary, and whenever I looked it up, I was just thinking about maybe I can go ahead and maybe do like say an activity about talk about it's like the word shy. It is. It basically means from what I looked up in the dictionary, according to my understanding, is basically it means it's like so far as keeping say to yourself most of the time. You're not being too talkative. Of course, you say with the is not being too talkative with other people. It is not being too talkative for people who are around you, others that are around you. It is, and knowing about let's just say if there was somebody maybe right here. It is it's like you kind of right here like draw say a face right here. If there was somebody sitting at about right here. It is, and then knowing about that if they were like what you call is like a say a gentleman at sitting at about right here. It is, and let's just say that with the gentleman though that see a gentleman on the right, to say gentleman on the left. It is, and they probably think about like that they would be sitting right here, and maybe doing some of their work as well, and then they wonder I'm like that that hey, what's your name? Something like that. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Or something like that. But anyway, though, that you have right here is that some examples right here of like it's like talk of say so far the meaning of the word shy. It is, and basically what does it usually exactly mean? It basically means that if you whenever you totally, I guess you say some people that may like what I would think about is basically what it means is that it's kind of like a nervousness. Is that you're basically nervous to be around other people. It is. It's like if you be walking into a classroom with about about at least walking into maybe a room where there was about maybe 15 or 20 or more people. It is, and then the next thing you know it that if they were talking about something that it's happened to me a couple of times to where if I would be walking into a room, it was like into a meeting, if I had to go to a meeting or something like that, and there was a lot of people there, and they would be talking about something, and a lot of times it was like and with anybody that may think about it, that the most nervous part about the whole part about being shy is knowing about whenever you walk into the room. It is that quite a few people whenever you walk in there and to attend class or something like that, and then they tend to look at you, that they look at you and kind of they may look at you kind of funny. It is, and then on your hand that you have right here is like you say with the red, and then according use right here is the green, and I can go ahead and draw here an example right here. If there's like we say a lady that was sitting, that would be like sitting right here. It is, it's like we say with the the curly hair. It is, and know about with the lady though that if there was a Miss like talk about say a Miss Miss Anshine or something like that, Miss Amston or something like that, that there would be like what you call like a lady sitting at about right here. It is, and then a lot of times that what you would maybe see on some of those movies though that with anybody that like if it was a girl or somebody that seen you and I talk about they have like what you call like the similar class, that they're in a similar class with you, and then or if it was maybe somewhere like at the park or somewhere like that they see you and it's like hey, how you doing? But it's kind of interesting, I guess, about maybe how some people meet though. That when some people meet, that it could be maybe you say maybe a walk in the park or something like that, or if you met in class, or if it was anything related to maybe cooking classes, or maybe on the job. If you meet somebody maybe on the job, it is that if you're working with working with this lady, it is, and knowing about that she's that both the two people you and her met, and they start talking about stuff, and then the things that they like to do and stuff like that, and but knowing about that so far with nervousness, that you say I usually use it as like what you call like for nervousness, but let's just say that if you were in a classroom with about maybe 15 or 20 other people, it is, and then and a lot of times that with anybody that may say that if you're going to be in a classroom, and let's just say if there's a homework assignment that is due at a certain time, and let's just say if you don't have it ready, and a lot of people are like, oh no, when am I going to tell the teacher I forgot it, or some people are like, well, my dog ate it, or my cat tore it up, whichever it is. But on the other hand, that they would probably suggest to don't lie to the teacher, and at least explain to them about that you just don't have it, and you'll have it to them. But on the other hand, that so far as to say the meaning of the word shy, it is as if you're going to be in a classroom right here with maybe a group of maybe 4 or 5 people, it is, and then right here is an example right here of me. But the whole meaning of that I used to always think that a lot of times though, that I hear that friends and people that I used to know, a lot of times I wonder about why is it that they they didn't really say too much to me, and half the time I may be wondering about maybe after about maybe 15, 20 years later, something like that, about 13, 15 years later, of knowing about maybe that they just didn't want to talk to me, but and then later on I find out that that they're shy, and that they didn't really have they didn't really know anybody, of course, at that gathering or at that place, or anything like that, and but knowing about with me though that a lot of times I used to always think that I'm like, yeah, that a lot of times I was pretty shy too, and I kept thinking that I was probably more shy than he was, or she was. It was, and knowing about that that they didn't say anything to you whenever you want to talk about something, or if you had something to share to the class, it was that they didn't really say too much, and knowing about what'd you think about this, or what'd you think about that, and they may be like, well, I'm like, oh, well, whatever that's supposed to mean, or whatever it is. But on the other hand, that you have right here is example right here. I mean, I can tell anybody here that I would probably say I spent about the past 10 years, I think it was, the past 10 years, to where a lot of times that maybe one of the reasons to why that I can maybe explain to why I never got it to where I can take any type of drama classes, it was, but a lot of times the teachers knew me, and they were like, well, you need to be a little bit more talkative, Matt, like to talk about that you need to be a little bit more talkative, and on the other hand too, to talk about, it's like for the whole meaning of the word, say for shy though, that with the whole meaning about shy, if we're going to be real shy of knowing about that yeah, you know, you don't really talk to anybody, if that really means about that maybe you just don't want to talk to people, or just you're just afraid, you know, to say something. And I keep thinking though that for the past 10 years that I was kind of like that too, to where I was not very talkative until I kind of decided, to say the socialize, knowing about that I kind of got used to everybody else in the classroom, and knowing about, to show more effort about knowing about that maybe I like to do a little bit better of reaching out to maybe to the group of people it is, that I was around, and then knowing about, get to know the teacher a little bit more, get to know everybody else a little bit more as well. But basically the whole definition for, like we say, for shy though, that I looked it up in the dictionary, and if I can remember right, that for like a sky, but shy, I can go ahead put an 8, but for shy though, it's like talk about, it's like for shy, not look up in the sky, but the meaning for shy though right here, basically that some people might say that is so far as like for self, I think for self, self-some, I guess some people that may say for self-some, which means that not talkative. Not too talkative it is, and then on the other hand, too, another word that could more likely mean that's like so far with like what you call is like that like that keep to. It's like not too talkative it is, and so far as another word that more likely could describe it, if I can remember right, what I seen in the dictionary though, that if I can remember, I'm like so far as sell-some, and so far as that like you like to keep motion of, I guess you say, for motion, motionative, I guess you say the word it will be like what you say, for motionative, keep motionative, for, for your time, I can say is like, for your time it is, and another word to describe, it's like so far with nervousness. So far with nervousness, it's like talk about right here, you have to smile. But anyway, but right here, like talk about, say, with nervousness, that a lot of times, for another word for, like we say for shy, it is basically talking about that yeah, with anybody who's going to be shy, it is of like I've had time I wonder about that people who don't talk to me, or that they have reasons like talk about like that if you interested in maybe asking somebody to dance, whichever it is, or anything like that, but a lot of times though, that with anybody that may say that with the whole part about being shy though, besides nervous though, is knowing about that he or she won't bite. And a lot of times, what do people usually mean? They won't bite. A lot of times, well, what do people usually mean whenever they say that they don't bite? It is just knowing about that they don't bite. Well, I don't know. It's possible that he or she might bite. Maybe if I don't, if I, let's just say that. If they want to talk me into doing something and then I refuse to do it, and then they may bite me later on, or they may bite me for whichever reason it is. But I'm like, we're not going to bite you yet, or no, we're not going to bite you at all. But on the other hand, too, that knowing about right here of other examples that we may have about so far as the whole meaning of the word shy is basically that I guess it basically means is that it's like a startle, I guess you say a startle type of type emotion, to where that your body kind of like what you call goes into like say a freeze mode, to where that you're kind of stunned, I guess, at first, that everything is all pretty new. With if you're going to be maybe on a new job or in somewhere in a classroom with a lot of new people, a lot of new coworkers. It is you don't know anybody, so that's kind of like whenever you just kind of want to. That's whenever you feel like that feels a little bit uncomfortable. And I could tell anybody here that maybe like especially like besides the first day on a job, maybe a first time you're walking to take a test. It is a lot of times that the whole part about it is like whenever you're shy. It is that if you be walking in to a room and then there's a room full of I would say about that at least 20 people and then they if they're in there to take a test, or let's just say if it's any type of gathered group or something like that, or any type of activity it is, such as Bible study or anything like that, or if it's anything related to like what it calls like a club, fan club, whichever it is, and knowing about that they want people to introduce themselves and to talk about themselves, stuff like that, and a couple times that whenever I was in school that I didn't mind speaking up to other people about who I was, and but on the other hand too that knowing about with some people that may say that well, I mean that's just the thing about the whole part about shyness is that that they may say that yeah, well, I'm so and so and I'm here to learn and that's all I have to share or something like that. But on the other hand, now that there was one time whenever I was really shy, a lot of times too about some things, and people tell me that I'm like, yeah, that I talk to some people and well, I didn't think that they really want to talk to me since they didn't I'm like that I used to always think that maybe I was shy, but on the other hand too that they didn't really say too much, but they like and then a couple years later find out that a friend of mine or whoever like, well, I was shy to tell you that I'm like, yeah, I was too shy. I'm like, I would have gone to the party with you, but I was too shy to ask or something like that, or I would have invited you over maybe for some pizza or something like that, for a popcorn party, whichever it is, but I was too shy to say something, and I could tell anybody here that a couple times that I would be shy about walking up to somebody, maybe to get their maybe if it's to get their phone number, whichever it is, and I'm like, yeah, that the best ways, of course, of how to avoid the whole nervousness. I guess more likely than with anybody that may say that at least think of one thing embarrassing that maybe you just want to go ahead and get done and over with. And a lot of times with anybody that may say that, well, go ahead and talk about try to get it done and over with, but on the other hand too that I think so far as to make yourself feel comfortable, other than to get away from the shynessness, is to make yourself feel more comfortable of doing something. I said more likely is to just concentrate on what you're doing and to look past the fear and to look say beyond which is the passion it is, and what anybody that more likely would say is to look on the passion about what you want to do and for what you're planning on doing, is that you may feel what you call kind of if you want to call it, I don't know about stupid, but if you want to kind of feel that way to where that if you walk up to somebody and the next thing you know it, that they kind of look at you, it's like, okay, who are you? But anyway, I could probably think of other stories, of course, that talk about the whole meaning of shy, and a lot of times I kept thinking about that with the whole meaning about the word shy, though, with I used to a lot of times I talk about used to to use the word, it's the whole meaning of being nervous. It was being nervous of being around other people, and I guess that can maybe explain. I talk about between a regular class and of course being a special ed class it was, and I can tell anybody that that it just seemed like a regular class was just too hard, and then plus for with my disability and stuff, and so it's that my disability and knowing about that whatever I can handle it is. And during that time too, that I know a lot of kids made fun of the way that I was, and of course about the what I could do also. And like, I guess you're going to have that to where kids are going to make fun of other kids too. But anyway, but talk about the whole thing about, say, with shyness. A lot of times it seems that way. Anybody that may seem that way, to where that if you were to mess up on something once, and then that's like, that talking about that the most embarrassing thing that ever happened in the course of your life. Let's talk about, besides maybe spilling spilling something on your shirt, or if it's anything related to you didn't bring the right you didn't bring the right school supplies, so you're going to have to write your name. Going to have to write your name on a chalkboard or something like that. Like talking about, you didn't write your name on a chalkboard, or your pants fell down while you were in the hallway, while you were walking, your pants wind up falling down, whichever it is. Anybody probably think about, talk about, say, embarrassment. But so far as the meaning of, say, the word shy, though, it basically means is like, that with shy is that if you were to use like what you call is like a meaning of like what you call is like for nervousness, it's basically that when others look at others, that one or more person that one or more person more likely is going to person that feels like they're not ready. They're not ready, and some people that may say that, well, some, either they're not ready, or it could mean about that, knowing about, exactly about, is what is that person doing? So a lot of ways, though, that if anybody were to think about that, come to the point where not too talkative, or something like that, it's like taught about to socialize, and a lot of times that talking about, well, shy, between shy and shyer, I used to always think that this would be me right here, between shy and shyer, because I used to always think, I'm like, baby, I'm more shy than that person is, because on the other hand too, that knowing about between maybe that fact about, I tell you one thing, that my pants are not, my shirt's not tucked in correctly, and I'm not wearing my tie right, and on the other hand too, that I keep yawning, or not wearing the right talking about it's like my hair is kind of all messed up, say from the wind, whichever it is. But on the other hand too, the way I think about, with anybody maybe think about the whole meaning about the word shy, it is, and so far as to look at your passion about what you want to do, so far as it's like for the meaning of the word shy, as to talk about to think about for what you want to do, and knowing about ways to feel comfortable for what you're planning on doing. Like talk about to talk to people, and of course for them to get to know you, and you get to know them. But talk about say with the reading glass, and right here is talking about with the word shy. It's talking about looking for, say, the positive for what you want to do. And so far as talk about between say for being a part, to say of the group, say the conversation, knowing about, say, for the word shy, say color activities, like so far as to try not to be so nervous, and try not to be too nervous. And I can go ahead and draw right here as a teacher. I'm like anybody maybe think about like talk about, say, in the classroom, it's talk about that you're too shy. if you're too shy to talk to the teacher about something, it is, and I'm sure anybody probably knows what I'm talking about, such as like a yep, talking about that I gotta, if it's anything to do with a Christmas event or a Halloween event or anything like that, talk about say your favorite superhero it is, you got something at home that maybe you would like to bring to talk about, what we're talking about in class or something like that, like a show and tell event. I know that a lot of times that the teachers that at the school I went to, that there would be a student that would say something like that. They got something at home that they can bring to based on what they were talking about in class. It was, and a lot of times you have right here is the teacher that will be standing and in the class it is, and a lot of times it's like with the teacher though. With the teacher be standing around in class, and then like you'll be talking, and all of a sudden, it's like if you decide raise your hand, you want to say something or mention something, it is, and we're in the middle of an assignment or something like that, but other than that, I talk about here, so far as you say the whole meaning of the word shy, it is basically talk about right here of the whole meaning of the word shy. It is of that to look and say at the passion about knowing about what you're trying want to say. It is, and like I say that like with anybody, you're going to be pretty shy to at first about anywhere you go. It is more likely you're going to be shy, and knowing about more likely anybody probably think about, well, I'm shy and he's shyest and she's the shyest, and then I'm like Shylene or something like that. I talk about it like so far we're all shy, but just to know about maybe who wants to take turns at talking about if you want to say something, or if you like talk about it's like if you're ready to not really to keep to yourself, but then of course to kind of socialize, to talk to others about of course about for who you are and knowing about what you can do. But other than that, talk right here so far as the word shy calling activity.